Despite what Christian nationalists will tell you, America was most definitely not founded on Christianity. And the fact that this poster tried to find examples from American history to argue the opposite, and this was the best they could do, really makes that point. So let's ignore for a moment that they think that the story of America starts with the arrival of white people. Another way to say that the Pilgrims wanted to worship freely is that they rejected the established state church of England. Little known fact, but the Pilgrims were actually Brownists, which set them apart from the main lines of Puritanism, which wanted to purify the state church of England. In contrast, the Brownists were separatists. They came to the Americas fleeing from the state church of England. Now, we shouldn't pretend that their goals were any less totalitarian, but it's a really bad example to argue for a nationalist religion. Providence and Rhode Island were founded by Roger Williams, not some guy named Roger Clark. Roger Williams and his followers had been ejected from the Massachusetts Bay Colony when it had established a narrow standard of religion. And Rhode Island subsequently became the first colony to guarantee religious freedom. Abraham Lincoln once said you shouldn't trust quotes you find on the internet. And that holds for this one, because George Washington never said it. The Mount Vernon website lists this in its spurious quotations list. The prayer that they're citing here was not recited in 1777, it was recited in 1774. Now, if you're thinking, hold on, that would be years before the Declaration of Independence and way before the establishment of the U.S. Congress, you would be right. That's because this first prayer in Congress was not presented to the U.S. Congress. It was presented at the Second Continental Congress. John Jay and John Routledge, who was one of the first Chief Justices of the Supreme Court, objected to the prayer. And the Reverend Duché, who made the prayer, eventually turned against American independence. At the Constitutional Convention, the members heard and did not accept a resolution to have prayer at their meeting. In 1789, when the U.S. Congress was finally formed, they established a position for chaplain. They tried to assure that this would not establish a religion by changing out the denomination of the chaplain. However, even at that, significant figures like James Madison felt that the practice was unconstitutional. And of course, the next quote comes from Madison, who thought that the establishment of a chaplain was unconstitutional. If you think that makes it unlikely that James Madison ever said this, you're right. Despite many popular websites attributing this to Madison, there appears to be no source text. And even if Madison had said it, there's no reason to think that it would refer to the Christian God. As an adult, Madison was likely more deist than he was Christian. If the best examples you can cherry pick from history are either spurious or don't actually support your conclusion, it's probably because your conclusion is wrong. Jesus and George Washington are disappointed. Stop being a Christian nationalist.